Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a beautiful harvest wreath for you. I created this wreath right behind me using pampas grass and corn husks, and I also used this natural um, cotton lace in the middle. I wanted to use all natural products. Everything was except for the glue, of course, and the metal wreath. It is a lot of work, so I only ended up doing one. So I have French doors, and I ended up just putting it inside because I wanted to go ahead and show you, either you can put it on the door or put it inside. This would also look beautiful above the mantle. So also, if you had a mirror that was kind of the same size, you can put that in the middle. That's also kind of fun. I don't have a mirror that size, so I wasn't able to do that, but I wish that I did. First things first, let's go ahead and set the scene, starting off with the smell. I love this candle. It is one of my favorites. For my snack, I'm eating this peanut caramel apple. It is so good. And then I'm listening to Sam Cooke on my record player, which I love. All right, so once the scene is set, let's go ahead and begin. The first thing that you're gonna need is the corn husks. So I had to go to the Mexican aisle in the grocery store, so they're not that expensive at all, and you get a whole bunch. So I may do more corn husk DIYs. I got this cotton ribbon and this wired jute cord at the dollar store, as well as these wired wreaths, rings. And you're gonna need scissors, glue sticks, staples, and a stapler, and obviously a glue gun. So starting off, you're just going to cut pieces of the corn husks and staple them kind of closed. If you had sort of older ones or the corn husks weren't very pliable, you could always wet them, and then they'll mold into the shape that you want them to mold. But for me, these were totally fine. So I ended up trying to get flowers. You'll see me try to put these flowers in the wreath so many times, but I end up not using them at all. So if you want to, I give you some ideas on how to add flowers, but I didn't end up liking how it looks. So every time I try to put it in the wreath, but it just wasn't working for me. So anyways, you're going to need quite a few of these pieces. So just keep folding and stapling. So the video I saw of the TikTok corn husks, they were kind of vertical, which I just did just a second ago. I ended up doing them this way because in the TikTok video, the wreath that the girl had was a different one completely. It was like a foam one. So I got a wired one, so I wasn't able to do it that way. So I just decided to stick them in like this since that's what I was working with. Here I try to input the flowers or add the flowers, and just to give me a little idea of what I wanted to do. So I'm just kind of mocking this up, and you'll see this change so many times, but this is the initial idea that I had, and I do like it, but yeah, it gets completely, obviously, it looks completely different after a while. As far as the pieces, you want to go as wide as you can or as tall, long as you can. It totally depends on you and your preference. So the other idea that you could do, this is the wreath idea that I had. So I'm just going to take those off and try the other way, which is the way that I saw on the TikTok video, which is doing them kind of vertically. So I'm not sure if you want to try it that way. You could just cut them, do them like this. but I ended up not liking it that way. So it's your style, it's your preference, however you want to do it, but I did want to give you both ideas. This is when we introduced the pampas grass. This is a whole new day. So real quick, I was not liking the design yesterday, so I slept on it. And then we were driving by, we saw some pampas grass, and we decided to um, borrow some of the, some of the pampas grass from these bushes. So what I'm doing here is tearing off pieces of the pampas grass to use, and you do have to. It's I don't know, kind of reminded me of the corn husk too, where you just tear off the outer edges of it. It was very easy to do, and this part was pretty simple. I really wanted to incorporate pampas grass because they're very trendy right now and they're so beautiful and very boho, and I really am going for that aesthetic, the natural sort of boho vibe. So I'm incorporating the pampas grass into it. So you just want to cut off as many pieces as you can. Overall, I used probably 8 stalks of the pampas grass, so you really don't need that many. All right, so here's where I'm just not sure what to do with it yet. I know that I want to use these kind of design of the corn husks in the rings, but I don't initially know what to do with the pampas grass. So it's just a lot of trial and error. You'll see me just creating. This is the best part of DIYing, is just letting the juices flow. That's why I think it's so important to have music and synths to just get you in that spirit and the mood for it, because that's what, that's how the juices flow. So I realized that I want the pampas grass in the back. So I think that I'm just kind of measuring, will I have enough to go all the way around? At this point, I still had in my mind to do 2 wreaths, but I only ended up doing 1. So then I thought I liked it in the back, so I wanted to put some of the corn husk in the front for that initial design. And again, this is just me seeing how I want to incorporate it all. I'm still trying to add the flowers and those other pieces for dimension and just to add a little bit of something. I love the leaves, but they're just not working for me. Um, so I did want to use the cotton lace, and I decided to go ahead and use that on the inner part, and I did like that idea. So this is actually the next day, the next morning. As you can see, the lighting changed a little bit. I did not turn on the candle, as you can see. Be very careful with an open flame and all this corn husk and pampas grass. So I know that I want to put the pampas in the back, but it's really hard to hot glue pampas to the wire. So I'm going to need to hot glue pieces of the corn husk onto the wire so that I could hot glue the pampas grass onto the corn husk a lot easier. Um, so I'm just taking pieces this is the back of the wired wreath. So just flip it over and add your hot glue and just glue that down so that the corn husk doesn't kind of fall in between the wires. And yeah, so you just want to do this all the way around. This does not have to look pretty at all. The corn husk is going to go on top of it, so it doesn't need to be well done at all. But I trim off some of the edges so that it's not sticking out. And now the pampas grass is so much easier to hot glue to the corn husks. Also, the pampas grass is thin, so when you're kind of pressing down the hot glue, grab a little piece of corn husks so that you won't burn your finger. So yeah, just quick tip on that one, because they're very thin. It's like silk, so it will burn your finger. that happened to me already. So here I'm just speeding it up. I love this time lapse on my phone. I am filming on my phone, just FYI. And I really love the time lapse feature on it. So I use it a lot in this video. Let me know if it's too much or if you wanted me to slow down on any part. But it's very easy and self-explanatory. Okay, so what I'm going to do after I finish putting these pampas all the way around is I'm going to grab some more corn husk and just kind of sandwich that in the back. Again, I'm still on the back of the wreath, but I just don't want any of the pieces to fall off ever. So I'm just sandwiching that and really just making sure that it stays put. If you had a piece of felt or a piece of fabric, this could work also, but I had the corn husks and it came in really handy because I use them for a lot of different things. Sorry my big head's in the way, but you can really see my lowlights. So yes, again, be careful, it gets hot, and the corn husks is also thin, so it doesn't shield you very much from the heat of the hot glue gun. So just be very, very careful. All right, so once that is over, you flip it over. This is now the front of it, and I did a wide angle view so you can see the whole sort of backing of it. And that's the back. Don't worry, no one will see that. All right, so now flipping over to the front side, I am going to go ahead and start hot gluing the corn husks. Just to start off, I learned the hard way in this video, but I got a little lazy and I didn't want to do very much. So you'll see that toward the end. So what I'm doing initially is just hot gluing the bottom or the back of the corn husks to the wreath. This is the first layer. It looks best with all 4 layers, but I'm telling you, I got a little lazy and I didn't want to do all 4 layers, which is not good. But yes, don't do like me. Go ahead and just take the time to do this whole piece. It does take a while, but it's worth it in the end, I promise. So this bottom layer, where there are wires, I just kind of cut the corn husk in half and put one side on the other side of those wires. All right, this is where I thought I'm going to put the corn husks or the pampas in between, and I went ahead and hot glued it. I didn't like doing it this way. I eventually changed it. You'll see me do that shortly, but then I go ahead and put the ribbon, and this was very hard to do, so you'll see my head in it a lot. I had to trim the back of where I put the corn husk, so do be careful with that. And with the ribbon, again, be careful with it because it's lace and it's not holding, it's not shielding my fingers from the heat or the glue, the hot glue of the glue gun. So this piece was painful a little bit. Sorry you see my head so much. I'm really getting in there and trying to not burn my fingers. So yeah, it's very simple. Just the last wire, I hot glued the cotton ribbon to it. All right, so for this front piece, I realized that I needed to move the pampas, so I go ahead and do that. I tear off the pampas from all of the front of the wire. And then I have to put the hot glue, I actually put it in the front of where the corn husk is going to go. So I know on the bottom, the last piece, I was putting it in the back, and now on every other ring I'm going to put the hot glue on the front of the corn husk. Hopefully I'm making sense, but yeah, so it's going to the front of it. And just keep trimming if you can see that corn husk from behind the lace. So this is where I'm really trying to just do 2 layers of the corn husks, and you have to do all 4. It looks so much better with all 4, although it is very time consuming and hard to do. So yeah, just go ahead and bite the bullet and do all 4. There you can see I have some staple pieces
I have to remove those, and it does it is kind of hard. So when you're stapling, try to staple closest to the edge, and then when you're putting hot glue, try to put it on top of the staple, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just cut little pieces if I need little pieces, big pieces if I need big pieces. And yeah, this is what it looks like with 2 layers. This is where I try to incorporate the flowers yet again, or the leaves yet again, because I don't want to put another layer of corn husk. I'm just being lazy, friends. Go ahead and put another layer of the corn husk. It makes such a difference. But yes, I try to incorporate the leaves or those flowers, and it's just not working out. So I will remove that in just a bit and then keep on going. So yeah, this is where I put pieces of the corn husk, and I'm like, yeah, this looks much better. So I ended up trying to put just 3 layers, and then in the end I put all 4. So each piece of the wire had a layer of corn husks, and that's what I was saying, that it's a little bit time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. So um, just carve out the time. This part took me a couple hours, but again, it's worth it. I think it makes such a difference when there's multiple layers of the corn husks. So as you can see here, I'm just putting the glue in the front of the corn husks and then putting it in the behind the wire. I hope that I'm making sense. You'll see once you get doing this yourself. If you do, let me know. I'd love to see it, and just let me know if you like this, or if this was, you know, your cup of tea for a wreath. Any pieces in the front that you don't like, just go ahead and replace. But yeah, you just have to do this for all the rings, as I said, and make sure that your glue gun is, you know, I'm sorry, make sure that you have a lot of glue sticks, because you go through a lot of glue sticks. I think I went through that whole bag. So then I put another layer, another, um, I guess, layer of the ribbon. I just thought it could hide a little bit of what I was trying to put under there, behind there, which is some of the corn husk was not laying on the wire properly. So I just decided to go ahead and put another layer of the cotton lace ribbon. And at this point, I'm almost done. I actually have a birthday party to go to, and so I'm trying to get through this quickly. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up using the wired twine for the loop. So I'm looking for a place that has access to one of the wires. And I see that this first one does, and I get it in there, but then I realize it is the bottom layer of the wire, and you're more than likely going to see that. So I went ahead and tried to look for a piece of wire that's the second or third wire, and it's this one here. So I go ahead and hook it onto there and create a loop to hang it. So that is it. Just loop that wired ribbon or twine over a few pieces so that it won't come undone, and then just hang it on your door. I have French doors, so it doesn't look right with just one side done, one wreath. So I do have to take that down for now. I know I also need a larger mat. But anyway, this is it hanging on a wall. I think it looks so pretty, but I also think it would look so much prettier on a mantle. So if you have a mantle, put it on there.
Thanks so much for watching, and if you liked it, let me know if you end up doing it, and if some of the tips that I gave you worked for you. If you do a variation of this, I still would love to see it. Please tag me in your video, or please let me know that you ended up doing this wreath as well. Thanks guys so much for watching, and I will talk to y'all next week. Bye!